Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our inaugural Alberta Scotch Society and Friends Whisky Book Club. So this is going to be our first book. This is a test. This is not something we're planning on putting out there for very long. But what this will be is kind of an outline as to what you will see over the next 6 weeks. So this book, Canadian Whisky by Davin de Courgemot, is what we're going to focus our attention on every Saturday night. And I believe it's going to be at 7:30 unless we decide otherwise anytime soon. We will all, at the point, read the first section, because the first section of the book is our first week, second section, second week, third section, third week, and then it gets a little bit off because the fourth and fifth sections are larger. We will change that at the time and tell people what we're studying at that point. So if there's anyone that wants to read the book and come in on the conversation with us, that would be fantastic. We will have 6 guests every Saturday. This week we have us 3, as well as Yukon Dave from Two Brewers. We'll have Davin, the author himself, in with us, and one of 2 friends, Sean Kincaid or Ryan Nichols. One of them, we'll figure out one of those at the time, and we'll pretty well have the same people every week. We'll change 1 or 2 people invited within the industry that want to talk about the Canadian whiskey. Hopefully we can get as many personalities as possible. So it'll be a general book club format where we throw out the questions. And if anyone's ever been in a book club before, it's sometimes a little bit static. The questions are very specific, and that's what we're going to deal with. This is going to be, because we're drinking whiskey at the time, it's going to go with the mood of the whiskey and the people and whoever's up here. But we will be discussing the book. But the other thing we're going to be discussing is the whiskeys that we are having on the day during the podcast. So if you look in section 1, if you have the book, you will see that there are certain highlighted whiskeys. On the first couple pages, we have Mastersons, and we also have Whistlepig. Pages after that, we have Pendletons. Couple pages after that, and we have Two Brewers. And we will also have J.P. Wiser's, and finishing it off with Crown Royal. So those would be the choices for our invitees to pick some type of dram to talk about that night. And we'll talk about it for a minute, 2 minutes, just go over our dram. Nothing very in-depth, just interesting just to see what everyone's got in their glass that night. So we're going to do that now, just as a first kind of introduction to what we're going to do with that part of it. We haven't read the book yet. It's the first part, I believe we said, was 28 pages plus the foreword, which is a couple pages as well. And every week it's just about the same thing, about 40 pages every week, and just about everyone can do 40 pages. So, we've got Whiskey Dave about to come in. I'm going to click on him. Add to stream.
Whoops.
You go, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, I'm back.
Good. Well, we are actually live now. So we're live, and we're going to taste. And I told you to have a dram. Did you pick out your dram?
I drank it.
You drank
Sorry.
it. Well, you have to pick out another dram and talk about it for a minute or 2 minutes. I'm not going to start. Nick or Don, who wants to start this off?
I'll go.
All right, Nick, you're number 1. Good job.
Yeah.
You got the
So,
screen.
Kern in Whiskey Bell glass, of course, and it is an Irish triple distilled blended whiskey.
Ooh.
Typical Irish, very sweet, soft to the nose, lovely florals.
What percent, Nick?
I believe it's 40. Yep, 40. Straight up. It's soft on the palate, but has these beautiful lingering floral notes, a bit of honey, even a little bit of melon, which is so cool to the Irish. I find, have some interesting depth and character.
Beauty. Are you ready? Whiskey Dive,
No.
Doc?
I am. Let's go for it.
There we go. Let's put you on. You're up.
I'm drinking Connemara peated Irish single malt. It is a 40% distilled by Cooley. Beautiful color. Gives you a little bit of that Highland. Say you have a peated Highland. It's kind of similar to that. You get a little bit of the shortbread, little brine, kind of like an old Pulteney brine. Some fruit, subtle fruit, honey. The palate is just so nice. The peat kind of just blankets over all that typical Irish subtleties like the shortbread and a little bit of that fruit. Great bottle. Could go a lot longer into it, but for time, it's definitely worth it. 40% again. It's very easy to drink and not like your normal peateds from like Scotland. Very subtle.
You're good?
Yep, I'm good.
Yukon Dave, are you ready or do you want to go last?
No, I'm just sitting this one out. I'm watching.
Okay, that's good. So,
Because I'm on my phone now and not back on my computer because I can't get it on my computer now.
you will
Always
figure this out perfectly by Saturday. So
Yeah,
back
right.
up to Glendala, and I picked this because Don and I we were on Instagram a couple nights ago, and we were doing Irish distilleries, and I was giving him the option of which ones I should drink that night that he might have, and he was a bit envious of this, and I said he really shouldn't be, but it tastes okay as a dram. It's not as enticing as the label. I just love the label. It drew me in. So Irish whiskey, this guy's triple distilled. And we've got bourbon barrels and Oloroso sherry casks. It's 42%. The nose is, I'm smelling more, I would think corn, but I've been thinking about bourbon a little bit too much lately. So I think maybe that's having a little bit of an influence. So Cornish, I think the grain portion of it would have been in American barrels. So we have it in bourbon barrels, and you get the vanilla on the nose, and you get the sweetness on the nose. And maybe it's not corn, maybe it's another grain, but I'm thinking corn. The malt portion of this, that's an Oloroso sherry cask, and that gives you the Christmas fruits, but a little bit of apple, which tells me it's really young. So that's essentially it. That gives us a minute and a half. On the palate, it's not very complex. It's pretty one-dimensional, even though it's two different casks. The sherry portion comes out more than the bourbon, although I do get a bit of vanilla. I get the cinnamon, a little bit of Christmas cake on it. The finish is medium short, and it's no real difference from the palate, except it ends a little bit spicier. Starts off with the sweet, not really too much meat in the middle, ends off with a little bit of spice. So let's go back to the one. Oh, let's try that one. Everyone having the same mainstay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our first. Is there anything else I should add to this? Looking to join our club.
We're not going to take ourselves seriously. This is about having fun.
Yep.
Well, it's got to be. It's got to be. It's about, I like reading the book. I love the fact that we're starting off. We've got 3 Canadians here, and we've got 1 American. I like the fact that we're starting off with a Canadian whiskey book.
Yeah.
Don over there, Don and I met at the Banff Whiskey Experience, and we were both in a master class with Davin. We met in the hallway waiting. We sat at the same table. We lined up for a half an hour to get our books signed, so I knew that we both had the book. So
Yep.
it works out really well for me in this case because I didn't have to buy the book, or neither did he.
This is true.
And Yukon Dave has to buy the book, and Nick has had it for a while, I believe. Right, Nick? All good. So we're going to sign off. Again, that was our introduction as to what we will be doing every Saturday for the next 6 weeks. The next book will be discussed later, but I'm leaning towards Ralphie's. It might not be, but I'm kind of leaning there. I'm hoping. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.